You are listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, Episode 12, Vanguard, Issues 4, 5, and 6.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast, your ugly Superman. I'm Raven Perez.
I'm Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
And you're listening to a Savage FINcast Retro, where we take a look back at the past Savage Dragon issues, spin-offs, one-shots, various Savage Dragon-related issues that we have passed by in the night, but we're taking a glance back and we're getting a gold from them thar hills. I don't know where I'm going with that. Jim,
Your metaphor
save
broke
me.
down.
Save me, Jim. What's this show about?
This specific show, we're going to be talking about Vanguard issues 4, 5, and 6. After last time, we, of course, talked about Vanguard issues 1, 2, and 3. So,
Beautiful.
Which will wrap up the first series.
We'll wrap up the first series of Vanguard. At which point, after that, there are a couple more Vanguard things to cover, but they'll be further down the line. So,
Sweet.
just to get right into it, Vanguard issue number 4, which was published February 1984. Co-creator, editor Eric Larson, co-creator, writer Gary Carlson, penciler Rick Leonardi, inker Jimmy. I can
You
never
gotta nail
pronounce
it.
his
He's
name.
important.
I know he is.
Yes.
You said Palmiotti? Palmiotti.
That's how
Jimmy Palmiotti.
That's it.
Palmiotti.
Letterer Chris Iliopoulos. Colorist Reuben Rude. And then the backup is a Berserker backup by writer Gary Carlson. Penciler Angel Medina. Inker
Funky
Bill
cold.
Inker Bill Anderson. Colorist Antonia Cole. Bicycle seat sniffing sicko Josh Eichhorn. It's very difficult to pronounce colorist.
Is it?
It is.
Why don't you say colorist?
Colorist.
I love you, Jim, but you always butcher artists' names.
Oh, yeah. It's their fault for having so many vowels in them. But yeah, you're right. Jimmy Palmiotti is a big name in comics, even to this very day.
To this very day, mover shaker.
He's been a long time inker, sometimes writer. He's done a shit ton of shit. Pretty cool.
Cohort of Amanda Connor.
Yep, aren't they married?
Well, I didn't want to put a ring on it, but okay.
I'm actually not sure. I thought they might be, but
It's one of those things where they both still rep their original names,
They
Palmiotti and Connor. So I don't know, but I mean, I'm sure. I think they are together. Yeah.
And then there was another guy in there, but I forget his something Gray. I should have done more research before I started. But at any rate, it's kind of cool just to see him inking. I don't really know this Rick Leonardi guy, although he did do quite an impressive run on Spider-Man 2099. He did the first 25 issues there with Peter David. And that's
You don't know Rick Leonardi?
Not really.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't ringing a bell for me either. Although
Really?
I feel like I've heard the name. So why
Listen,
don't you
guys.
educate us?
Well, I mean, he's mostly known for... I feel like most people know him for Spider-Man 2099.
Okay.
But also Cloak and Dagger.
Okay.
I feel like X-Men. He's done some Hulk. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's one of my favorite artists.
Really?
I'm not on many artists' fan pages, but I'm on his.
So still active to this day.
Yeah, I don't know what he's done recently. Honestly, I haven't collected because he still does a lot of like big two superhero stuff. I don't collect a lot of that, but his stuff, it doesn't shine as much on this Vanguard issue, I feel like.
All right.
But his stuff is incredible. If anyone has the chance to look at some of his, do a Google for Rick Leonardi and look at his layouts and stuff, they're amazing. They really are.
I was telling Jim before we started, I don't know Rick Leonardi, but I actually think even in this issue, he outshines Joe Mad. Like, he's got chops.
Yeah, no, he's got more than chops, I'm telling you guys. Well, I'm sure his listeners out there know who he is.
I know, they're probably laughing their ass off.
Yeah, I'm going to, after this is done, I'll send you some pictures.
I know, like, whenever we're talking like this, like, I feel ignorant. I'll just say within the context of these Vanguard issues, I don't know, last episode I mentioned it briefly, but that, like, for some reason, issue 1, 4, and 5 they weren't cemented in my mind for whatever reason, even though the others were firmly cemented in my mind. But as I read these now and, like, reading them today, like, even though this felt like fresh 100%, I rate this very highly. I put this over Joe Mad's performance. I think he delivered more solid work than Joe.
You guys, I don't know if you know Cloak and Dagger, like the original series. I mean, that first issue cover is ingrained in my head. That's all Leonardi, but yeah, he is masterful, honestly. And this is some of his earlier stuff, but
this would not be his earlier stuff. At this point, Cloak and Dagger came out in 1985.
Okay, all right, then I'm wrong about that.
And I want to say Spider-Man 2099 would have started 1992. So he's just he's just coming off Spider-Man 2099 at this point.
That's true. Yeah, because I collected 2099. Cloak and Dagger was a little before my time collecting.
So, Craig, you got to me. I couldn't hold off any longer. Listeners, I recommend you do the same. You should Google Rick Leonardi, and you should take a look at his art. We're failing to mention is that this guy is the iconic Spider-Man 2099 artist.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He did, like, the whole run in the beginning, or at least 20-something issues.
Yeah, the first 25.
And I always thought Spider-Man 2099 had, like, fucking artistic chops from hell. Even though I wasn't reading that book, that was just a good... I never saw a bad Spider-Man 2099, like, pin-up page, whatever. And as I scroll down this, like, stuff, this guy is solid as a fucking rock. Looks like he did a ton of stuff I recognize, like... obviously Cloak and Dagger. If he designed those, that's iconic design work.
Yeah.
He may have. I don't know.
If that was the first series, it's likely.
Cloak and Dagger is like iconic comic design. But even Spider-Man 29, which he likely played a hand in designing, that's iconic design. This guy is awesome. This is really good work. And Craig, Philly resident.
No, I didn't even realize that.
Yep. You might be going down to the old Wanamaker, and there's going to be Rick. Hey, why don't we go up to the Poconos?
Yeah, he's one of those guys you would have expected to do more. I don't know, what's the deal with that. But
looking at his Wikipedia, he has done a shit ton.
Yeah.
So, I mean, while we might not be... Yeah, I feel like a total moron for what I was saying.
Shit ton, but no long runs, I feel like, on stuff.
Yeah, as long as run as that Spider-Man run. Everything else is relatively short.
You're accurate. I'm looking at his Wikipedia. He is, like, spotty. He's, like, all over the map.
No, he did not create Cloak and Dagger. They were introduced in a Spider-Man issue in 1982.
Gotcha.
But, what's funny is he's on, like, a lot of stuff. Like, 90s people, like Painkiller Jane. Like, 1 through 5. Yeah. Like, he's there for, like, Spider-Man 2099,
Yeah.
Like, he's there defining some looks of some fairly iconic-looking characters and stuff. I think it's cool. I think it's neat.
it's just funny, before we were recording earlier today, we were talking about how, like, you're amazed that some people don't know some artists to you is, like, one of the biggest things, or, like, I don't know, so it's funny to hear that you guys don't really know him besides this Vanguard stuff. Because to me, like I said, I'm not on many, like, fan pages on Facebook, but he's one of the artists because I just think he's great.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really solid. He's got that kind of traditional comic art look.
Apparently, he also drew the Vision and Scarlet Witch series, of which the upcoming TV series will be heavily based upon. So,
oh, no kidding. I'll have to check it out.
That was highly praised. Cool.
We start talking about the issue itself.
Yeah, this issue is good. I really like the action. I love like I said, Rick Leonardi, like, fucking nails it. I think there's some cool, like, visuals going in here. The coloring has finally calmed the fuck down. It doesn't look like a Technicolor nightmare. Like, this coloring, I think, holds up, like, to this day. Like, I think this is, like, solid coloring. And the plot is good too. Like, I know, Jim, you always do, like, sort of the, like, blow by blow.
Yeah, this one comes off the end of the last issue. Dragon's still kicking around, but Wally's come in, attacked Vanguard, but then Vanguard and Wally teleport back. Oh, Wally kidnaps Roxanne, and then so Vanguard goes back to his ship, only to find that Roxanne has been put into this
murder room,
and he has to figure out who the real one is. So he goes through all of that, finds her. Turns out Modem, who was introduced in issue 2, has taken over the ship because she's pissed at Wally because she messed up the teleportation experiment she was doing.
Although why, I don't know. There's really, like, doesn't really seem like she'd have a lot of reason to be mad.
She seems to just be kind of unbalanced. Whatever experiment did to her, it made her more aggressive.
But why are you wondering why she's mad? It changed her.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that, like, so she's kind of like, oh, the alien that tried to kill me.
Right.
So they're kind of treating it like a misunderstanding. But I mean, it's like, geez Louise, dudes. I mean, you became a superhero. Like, you look beautiful. You have powers. Like, what's the problem? You know what I'm saying?
I think she's just slightly unhinged.
Yeah.
I don't think...
It was a crazy experience, I'm sure.
But in the end, she gets dealt with, and actually this issue ends the cleanest. I don't think there's anything that, like, goes into the next issue.
It's very one and done.
Indeed.
Yep.
I want to say the one thing that kind of... Maybe you're going to talk about this. Is it this issue where... Is this the last issue where Dragon appears?
Yes, this is the last issue that Dragon appears. Oh, the one thing that does go into the next issue is the backup. There's a whole backup story here that goes into the issue 5.
Is this the one where he gives Dragon Lurch at the end?
Yes, he does. Basically what happens is Wally shows up, shoots Vanguard, Dragon intervenes, they manage to... Wally infects Lurch to become basically a xenomorph, and the cops all gun him down. So Dragon gets his hand on Wally, but Wally teleports away, and then kidnaps Roxanne, and then before Vanguard leaves, he tosses... he doesn't have time to pick up Lurch, so he tosses Dragon the remote for Lurch. And that's how Dragon gets his hands on Lurch.
Here's a control disc. He will do what you tell him to do.
So that will play a major plot point in the ongoing series.
Yes.
Which will be cool. And then the other thing I thought was kind of cool is that the... let me see, sorry. The Morphlings, they look kind of like the aliens from the movie Alien, but at the same time, they also look like the Tyrus Combine aliens that you see show up in Savage Dragon many years later.
Do they?
Kind of.
I kind of forgot what they look like. I thought they were just kind of going for a Wally knows television shows thing.
Yeah, well, I think so, but I think at the same time, they kind of look like those aliens that show up when they actually invade, and those aliens kind of look like xenomorph type aliens. So I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know if Eric was basing on that, but I don't think. I think those aliens show up, and I want to say Nikos first makes them show up at a backup, so he kind of sets the tone. So I don't know if he looked at old issues. So I'm probably confusing the listener right now, but I think it was around issue 175 or something. The Tyrus Combine, which are the aliens that Vanguard's sent to Earth to protect from the Tyrus Combine. They show up in a backup in 175, I want to say.
Possibly.
And it's not Eric that draws them for the first time. It's Nikos, and they look like this alien on here. So I thoroughly confused everybody. I'm sorry. Let's move on.
But
no, I get it.
One thing though, we do get a lot. We do get a good, well, not a good chunk, but we get some Vanguard backstory, which we hadn't gotten before. We basically, through this simulation room, we get introduced to his sister, one of his old flames, who end up marrying his brother.
Kazi, his sister, Luma, his old flame.
And his commanding officer, General Thaka.
Yeah.
So we're basically introduced to a bunch of concepts. Basically, Vanguard has family and friends far away, and that, you know, he has history. We are told that what's his name? Luma married his brother, and he's still not. He's kind of upset about that. And
right.
Yeah, and Kazi's his sister, and I think we meet her way in the future as part of the Vanguard backups that happened in the 2000s.
It is a cool way to do some world building where you wouldn't expect it.
Yeah.
And
we will see some of these characters down the line too, in the backups of Savage Dragon, which is cool.
You know, I'm suddenly noticing something I never really noticed before.
Clifton chicks are kind of hot.
Well, there's that, but Vanguard only has 4 fingers.
Oh yeah,
and that is consistent.
Yep.
I never noticed that. Huh. Well, there you go.
Learn something new about something old every day.
But, yeah. This issue looks pretty good. I like the art on this issue a lot.
Yeah, I think it holds up.
I think, again, I think it is it's similar enough to Pearson and Joe Mad that it coheres. It isn't dramatically different.
I feel like Leonardi falls more into like the Walt Simonson type camp, which I like, and I feel like you see some of that influence in here.
It's funny because this doesn't really have a lot of what you would think of in terms of like 90s extreme comic stuff going on.
Right.
So as a result, this is a much more modern feeling. It's weird because, you know, obviously Leonardi's like kind of like a more traditional base, but because there's not a lot of 90s extreme stuff, this feels very modern. I said, this could have been published like in the year, you know, 2010 or 2018, and it wouldn't have looked that different.
So it makes sense. Cool. Like we're saying, you know, some of like his Cloak and Dagger was 85, so he's probably growing up on the Masters, whereas some of these like Tom Coker 21-year-olds are growing up on newer stuff or something. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think this letters column is notable for having 3 letters from Augie. Like they published.
Is there 3 in here?
Yeah, there's 3 letters from Augie DeBlick, legendary letter hack. So, and it's funny because each one's different. And this is the one where I said, oh, but like he's talking about like how Wizard is talking shit about how Vanguard looks.
There was one letter that asked if Keith Giffen would draw an issue, and he says Eric says it isn't out of the question. Man, that would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. Probably should mention how Modem gets defeated. She infects the ship, and then they basically shove her into a satellite and then blow the satellite up, which basically dissipates her like electrical signal into space. So she's like disembodied now, which has really got to suck.
Yeah, she's just a signal with no receiver.
And again, we'll see her down the line eventually.
Yeah. And we get this Berserker back up. Now, Berserker was another Gary Carlson creation from all the way back during the Megaton era.
Right. Yeah.
And
Cool visual.
In fact, he's
Very
appeared
much.
recently in issues of Big Bang Adventures, that new Gary Carlson series.
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting to see him here, because he's got kind of an OMAC thing going on.
Big time.
Yeah.
Very, very big OMAC.
The Mohawk.
With the Mohawk and the future and the cyber tech stuff.
Well, his original name was Terminator before the Terminator movie came out.
Really?
Oh no, dude!
Yeah.
Don't you hate when that happens?
It's almost the same kind of concept in a way.
It is. There's actually a line, I think, in the next issue where they say, "Oh, he's come back from a future where machines control everything," and they send a machine back. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, "God damn, that's Terminator, dude."
Yeah.
But it's crazy because this predates Terminator.
Yeah.
Now, the art on this I really like. Angel
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Medina is
Angel Medina. He's got
Medina's
chops.
very good, especially this first page with the Berserker and, just so much detail on him. He's definitely got a style I can dig.
Angel Medina is one of those. Didn't he do Spawn? He was Spawn, right?
Yeah, he did a long, decent run on Warlock and the Infinity Watch, which I collected when it came out of Marvel. It was like right after the Infinity War and stuff like that. And then Warlock got his own team with like Pip the Troll and Gamora and those guys. And I liked it. I dug it. And then it was cool to see
24
him
issues
do
of
some
Kiss
more
Psycho Circus.
Yeah, I was
Jeez.
gonna say. I actually associate him with that Kiss Psycho Circus,
No,
even though I never
for me-
read it.
Yeah, for me it's Warlock. He was like the artist on that, and I think he was on it for quite a bit, maybe the whole run.
But I think his art is really solid. I mean, it's just solid as hell. This again, if this was sold last week, it would still work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what is this? Did he?
I know we're not doing page by page, but I just gotta say the sequence where fucking Berserker's just brutalizing those dudes, like decapitating that guy with a punch and then running his
Yeah.
hand through that other guy's heart, kicking that dude's jaw off. God damn, that shit's good.
So,
Yeah.
apparently, there was a Berserker series from Gauntlet Comics in 93 that Mendia drew with Carlson.
Medina.
Medina, sorry, yeah. And, well, it looks like there's a bunch of different people in the book, but it definitely looks like it's his art on the cover. So he's done, I get the impression he may have done Berserker before, which is why he's doing it now. Which makes me wonder if maybe he co-created him. But I'm still doing
Probably.
research on that.
Well, rock solid
might-
backup.
Oh,
and
yeah,
just-
he goes all the way back to Megaton. He's in issue 3, 5, and 8. So it's entirely probable.
absolutely. Sorry, I thought that was known.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I didn't know.
Me either. Say it for the listener. Just make it official. Angel Medina is one of those like Megaton guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Awesome.
Larson and Liefeld and Carlson and...
Yep.
Goddamn, what a legendary. That's all I'm saying.
There's actually a cool old ad for Megaton drawn by Eric Larson that's got, I gotta say, Berserker on it by Larson. And actually does not look as cool as Medina's, but it's decent. No, it's not really decent. It's not that good, but it's Larson, and so it's kind of cool.
So plot wise, what do we got here, Jim? Basically, it's real simple.
Oh, yeah. Some time travelers from the present have come to his doomed future, get caught up in his business. Berserker ends up trying to defend the time traveler from another time traveler who has decided to be gone mad with power, surrounded himself with a bunch of cyberized mooks. So Berserker kicks all their asses, but the time traveler who's protecting gets shot. Both him and the time traveler end up in the time pod, and they head back to the present, and at the end, the other time traveler vows that he's going to reinvent time travel and get back and make him pay.
Yeah.
Interestingly, he says at the end, he'll find a way back if it takes the rest of his life, and he'll get there first, which doesn't happen in the next issue, spoiler alert.
Nah, he tried that.
So they're chrononauts or whatever, and the guy that went first, like the government, whatever, sent them out. The guy that went first,
Right. He got stranded.
became some kind of warlord, right?
Right.
Is that it?
Something like that, yeah. He either got stranded or he chose to stay.
And the second guy is a good guy,
Or
and the warlord's attacking him.
yeah, to get his time pod. or to make sure.
And I don't know. It doesn't really talk about Berserker's origin, right? Or
No.
what he's there
No,
for.
he is
just protecting the guy.
Yeah, he's just there.
And it's 250 years in the future.
Indeed. Yes.
1994.
I remember reading this
present
I thought this was just a backup story. Like, I didn't think it had anything to do with Vanguard.
And
And
it
then
totally
you see-
does.
I mean,
It totally
in a
does.
way, you could if you read this without knowing anything about the next issue, yeah, you could totally read it. Oh, it's Gary Carlson doing a Gary Carlson character.
Yeah.
But no, it ties directly into the next issue. But before,
Which is cool.
But before that, we got ads for Codename Strike Force takes on Jim Lee Stormwatch. So we got
Does every Silvestri, and Jim Lee team have to, like, team up or have a crossover?
they're all very. I was going to say they're all X-Men, so yes, but no.
If you're a striker and you have 3 metal arms on one side and 1 regular arm on the other side, are you always, like, falling over?
It's my question. I don't know. It must really suck.
I mean, I gotta ask you, dudes. Like, did you think that was cool or not? Because I fucking thought it was awesome.
Really? The asymmetrical?
I have to say, of all the Image character, the founders, I found Cyberforce the least interesting.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Silvestri is probably the best artist of them all,
Yeah.
I felt like his concepts and designs were just not interesting to me at all.
But is it awesome to have 3 metal arms?
Yes,
on
it
one
is
side?
awesome.
It would be more
It-
awesome if
it
he had
is.
6.
I mean, the asymmetrical is what makes it cool.
Is it? Does it?
Yeah, dude. It is.
Go the whole way. Cut his other arm off. Have it be a stump.
That's a choice. When you've got the ability to give yourself fake arms and you just choose to leave the one arm a stump, that's pretty good, actually.
I love this world where, like, in comics where there's all these guys, like, guys got, like, 4 arms and 3 of them have, like, guns. This lady's shooting, like, flames out of her hands. It's just fucking giant muscular dude. And there's always the archer.
Always the
fucking
arrow
archer.
guy. Gotta have that arrow guy.
And he's
No.
got robotic, like,
I think we
fingers.
don't appreciate it enough, but there was never an arrow guy in Savage Dragon.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there never was.
And I think Eric has gone on record before to say guys like Green Arrow just don't appeal to him because they don't make a lot of sense.
It's strange, huh? Like, I feel like there should have been at least a bad guy.
Knights and archers are not his thing. Or cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
think that, like, it's one of those. It's funny because, like, nothing could look more 90s. And then fucking there's the arrow guy, which you got to think that arrow guy wouldn't exist without Shaft.
Well, Shaft doesn't exist without
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, and Hawkeye doesn't exist without Green Arrow. It all goes back to him.
No, but I mean, like, in terms of, like, so it's the 90s, and you're making your, super team for Image or whatever else. Why did he put this arrow dude on this team? Because fucking Shaft was the fucking leader of Youngblood. Isn't that weird?
I would
To
say
make your arrow
it
guy
was
the leader?
more of a case. Liefeld was aping the Avengers, so you have an arrow guy. And
Yeah,
then,
but Hawkeye's not the leader. You see what I'm
but
saying?
that's Liefeld's twist that makes it original.
Shaft was like fucking the leader. He was like cool. Like if Captain
Shaft
America
was
used
never
goddamn
cool.
Shaft is so cool. Dude, you're telling me Invincible when it's the Invincible War and Shaft's barking out orders like he's the fucking hot dog? That's not cool?
No. No.
I guess you hate this guy's neck veins too.
No, they're not great.
God damn it. What is this podcast? I don't understand.
See, neck veins not so good. I kind of like the tendons in the 3-arm guy.
I think that the dude with the like Max claws was like a ripoff of the Max.
Could be.
Because otherwise, like, or Baraka from Mortal Kombat.
No, that's. See, if you're gonna ape Wolverine, you can't just give him 3 claws because it'd be obvious. So you got to do dumb shit like that.
One big claw.
1 big claw, fingertip claws, 2 claws, serrated claws. That shit.
How many Image heroes had claws?
A lot, dude.
Okay.
I
All
think
That's
we've been
one ad.
tearing them down enough.
The very next ad is Freak Force in black and white, and I got to tell you guys, don't you kind of like how this looks in black and white?
I do.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
Freak Force number 4 for the listener. Vanguard, Freak Force, Evil Twins.
Well, last
Comics
time we talked heavily about inks and how important they are, and I think this is a good illustration of why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the
I love all the. Go ahead.
Even the black and white Spawn ad right next to it is also very cool in black and white in this case. Way better than the previous issue one with what's his name,
Malbolgia.
I like how you would say it like in the cartoon or whatever.
Malbolgia. So bad. Nah, this ad is cool for Spawn 21. It's just Spawn looming over a cityscape, and very effective, very cool, very nice. And then, bros, let me tell you, I'm sorry, this back cover. Ooh. So one of the Finheads added me to a Stephen Platt appreciation group. And so what you have is you have Prophet, Rob Liefeld's character Prophet.
Yes.
And then you have Stephen Platt's rendering of Prophet. So what a great chance for me, because I know there's Finheads that'll appreciate it, because a Finhead added me to a fucking Stephen Platt art appreciation group. What a great time to talk about Stephen Platt. Man, Jim, first off, I know you hate him. There's goddamn veins everywhere.
Well, the funny thing is I do hate it, but I can appreciate how much anime influence he's got going. He's got a fucking Gundam character here at the bottom, and like
yes, dude,
all the fucking tubes coming out of everybody like out of Appleseed.
Yes,
the
dude.
Dave Johnson way.
So here's what I want to say. Can I make a case for Stephen Platt? If you're a Stephen Platt hater, check it out. To me, two things. I want to say that this artist was the culmination. He was what the extreme art style was going for.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he stepped it up, I feel like.
Yes. It's funny. He had all that stuff that extreme art had, like just wacky fucking guns and like a million pouches and a zillion tubes and just absurd character design, veins, gritting teeth, like a billion jillion muscles, like just fucking gritty, awesome, cross-hatching every goddamn way.
Many
But
crotch lines.
Technically proficient.
Yes.
There's an underlying technical proficiency. You don't see weird anatomy.
I will say Prophet looks very big though. And
he's exaggerated, but it's not wonky. And there's a difference.
I remember when he came out, people were fawning all over this shit.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hey, it's still... What's funny is, this shit still has... As I'm going to tell you, get ready, listener. I'm going to make sure that you are aware that this Stephen Platt style still has modern appeal. Ever heard of a little franchise called Gears of War?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I'm just saying, people love that super roided out, 1,000,000 pounds of guns and fucking ammo clips all over you look.
Yeah.
Gears of War proves it, and I think that, like, Stephen Platt is a fucking legend, a beast. Now, the sad thing about being added to that group, I got added to this group, and I'm like seeing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, Stephen Platt, yeah, because I'm seeing a bunch of art I've never seen, but I notice it's all from the early, like, 90s era or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, at least the consensus was in this little group I was a part of, apparently Platt starts to, like, fall down a rabbit hole where he's trying to, like, tame his shit down a lot. And he loses a lot of his edge. He gets it like a lot more like technical and a lot more restrained, a lot less crazy over the top shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some of his modern work. Oh man, nothing, dude. This doesn't hold up as the same. It's not the same. So I'm just saying, here's what's crazy is here's a guy who came out of the gate like a goddamn demon, like a dragon demon from hell. It looked incredible. Like when he hit, you talk about like Craig, you were talking the last Vanguard review retrocast about McFarlane hitting and making a big splash. Yeah. Dude, when Platt
hit, I remember, yeah.
People lost their goddamn minds.
He put Prophet on the map.
Yes.
If I'm seeing recent stuff on Google search like I think I am, I think you're fucking crazy, dude. I think his current stuff looks pretty good.
It's not bad. No one said it was bad. I'm saying it lost that edge. Like,
That put him,
yeah,
made him stand out. Or...
exactly. Like, the thing is, and it can happen to artists, like, you can become more technical and lose, like, what makes you. You know what I mean? So, no, dude, I'm not saying please, listeners, please. I am not saying that his modern art is bad. Not even close. But I'm just saying that I feel like that, like, shit right here, like this back cover of this Vanguard issue, I think that is fucking just balls out more intense.
Did we talk about this back cover more than we talked about
We did.
Vanguard? Just kidding.
We did.
Welcome to the Splatcast.
Welcome to the Stephen Plattcast. I'm Raven. Nah, it's good. That's moving on. Vanguard number 5, coming down the pipes, coming at you.
Published April 94. Again, Larson, Carlson, and again we get Angel Medina, who did the backup in the last issue, so he'll be continuing right through this. You got inkers Jim Sinclair, Mike Miller, letterer Chris Iliopoulos, colorless Reuben Rude, Antonia Cole, Chet's brother who dances well in tight slacks, Josh Eichhorn, and that's separations by Olympics. So, anyone else notice that the page quality on this issue dropped?
Yeah, it's the flat, it's not glossy.
It is glossy, but it's not glossy. It's like one step up above, like, non-glossy. It's not good.
It's like eggshell.
Yeah.
It's funny. It makes you miss your glossy image paper, doesn't it?
It kind of does, yes.
Yeah. That's what I said that last time we did a review, and I was like, you know what? There's that whole movement of people that are just like, fuck it, put it on newsprint. Who cares? And I'm like, dude, when you're reading this shit like 20 years later, you'll care.
Well, I mean,
you'll care.
This holds up. It hasn't, like, yellowed or anything. Like I said, it is slightly gloss. It's just not super gloss. It's got a kind of a rough texture. It's not smooth.
No es bueno.
But right off the bat, we get the first Roxanne looking weird case, where she just does not look like the Roxanne of the last 3 issues.
Dude, they've looked weird. Every Roxanne has been different. Like, every Roxanne been a little weird.
That's the downfall of the series, really. I don't get the put a different artist on every issue.
It didn't end up being the best call just because of the visual. Like, you literally, somebody might not realize that this is the same Roxanne that,
I did not right away.
Yeah, she looks old.
She looks
and Roxanne
way
looked
older
young.
and frumpier.
Yeah. Frumpier.
Of course, she's in front of a camera, so maybe she's got to dress up, but I don't know. But Berserker looks really good, though. Fucking yeah. He's looking on model.
Yeah, Berserker looks bad to the bone.
So
I feel like his Vanguard is the kind of like he just didn't get the handsome part.
Yeah, his Vanguard's a little uglier.
Bad hair.
Vanguard's got to be handsome in my eyes. Like, that's part of the character. He's got to be weird but handsome.
I mean, he's got
I've said it before.
some good facial expressions.
Yeah, the facial expressions are good.
Make
He's
him look
just not
goofy.
handsome.
So the plot of this is that, as we saw in the last issue, there's a time travel program, and they sent one man to the future named Alex Kirk, but he disappeared, and so they sent a second one, Chrononaut, Andrew Jensen, to the future, who we saw both of them at the end of the last issue. So Jensen and Berserker have returned to the present, and Jensen dies pretty much as soon as he lands because of his injuries. So nobody knows what Berserker's deal is. So he starts getting into a fight. Again, miscommunication as a result of this fight as well, which seems to be a running thing through all of these issues, to be completely honest.
Yeah, misunderstandings lead to brawls.
Yeah, only the modem fight was like antagonistic driven. But then Vanguard catches wind because, of course, Roxanne's there covering it, and he's watching her, so he comes down, he gets into a fight. So Berserker so for the second time, Vanguard fights a green guy with a mohawk. So they get into a fist fight, but as the fight goes on, another time pod shows up, and Alex Kirk shows up. Apparently, after the end of last issue, he went through and he redeveloped the technology and has come to the past, or rather, back to the present, all cyberized and ready to kill Berserker. Apparently, he's really interested in, like, silencing anybody who knows anything about him. Like, he wants to actually kill, like, the people in charge of the Chrono program.
Well, he's mad at him.
For getting stranded in the future, I'm sure. But he also just wants to, like, doesn't want anybody coming after him, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what
He wants to go back to the future and be a king. But, although the ending's kind of weird on that, because at the very end, the fight ends, but Kirk is, like, reunited with his family, and he seems actually broken up about it.
Where are you guys getting the king thing? Because I kind of, like, thought that his whole deal was he was trying to just prevent this machine-ruled future. It's the Terminator plot.
But he had all those goons who were cyberized. If he wasn't like a bad guy, why was he like trying to stop the other guy, trying to kill the other guy?
I think we're fucking up on something here. Hold on, let me take this. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this real quick.
Because the way I understood it is he wanted to silence Jensen. Basically, he didn't want Jensen going back to the past to tell them that Kirk was there, because he wanted to be lost in time. At least that was the impression I got. Because he comes back, and the first thing he says is, or rather, the first thing he does is, he starts shooting innocent bystanders who get in the way.
Damn, you're right, dude. Okay, I'm an idiot. I went back and I reread his dialogue, and essentially, he's like, oh, he knew the truth. So he's trying to kill the second cosmonaut because he's afraid he'll go back and narc him out.
Right, exactly.
Wow, okay. I'm an idiot. Yep. Sorry, I totally bought the whole Terminator. The Terminator future threw me off so hard, to be honest. Like, when I read that thing where he, like, just basically says the plot of Terminator, I've been trapped in the future 300 years where sentient machines are trying to extinguish the human race. They're going to send a cyborg killer back through time. I've come here to stop it. That threw me off so much.
Yeah, that's him lying.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's a total lie. But I just fucking, like, I was like, fuck, that's the plot of Terminator. What? So, okay, got it. Plus, he had silver hair in the last issue, and now he's blonde.
That's weird, because he is, like, 6 years older than when we last saw him, so you'd think it'd be the other way around.
This is where I think your multiple artist thing is shooting you in the foot a little bit.
Yeah, but in this case, it's the same artist.
What the fuck happened? Well, then the colorist screwed up, okay? Because his hair was silver as hell in the last issue, and it is blonde as hell now. Yeah, and even in the little TV recap here, he looks like he has silver hair to me. Look at Alex Kirk in the TV screen thing.
Yeah.
He's got silver hair. What the hell?
Maybe he's bleaching.
He's from silver to blonde. There's a fuck up here. That's all I'm saying. No, I don't feel bad for feeling confused. I'm sorry. That's confusing.
I can't disagree. It's not the smoothest. It's not the most straightforward of stories, because there's a time travel element.
Time travel's fine. But if you're going to have a guy look like a completely different dude.
Right.
And bring lies into the mix. Just if he had had silver hair, it, honest to goodness, wouldn't have been as bad. I think that was a coloring gaffe.
What do their costumes look like? Is it
the cosmonaut costumes?
Yeah, Ghost Rider's old costume, or
yeah, there's a bit of like that Dan Ketch Ghost Rider thing going on,
or Star-Lord. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. It is that too. It's both.
I do like that they're consistent. I mean, it lets you know that both of those guys are cosmonauts, so that's cool. Or chrononauts, that's cool.
I love the little cameo of the Night Watchman.
Yeah,
me too.
You guys catch that?
Night Watchman animated series.
Very nice. Yeah, I like that Gary Carlson. Can I tell you guys something that's happening as we do these retro casts? I'm getting more and more pulled into this like Gary Carlson verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like little by little, I'm like, things that were, because I came at Dragon Weird in a weird piecemeal fashion, and so for me, Vanguard and a lot of the stuff, Night Watchman, was kind of piecemeal, and so it was there, but it didn't gel in weird and it didn't gel. And as we're reading these old issues together, like, stuff's gelling so much better, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I love this universe that I'm discovering.
It's funny how much I feel like the early Image guys, or even early, like, the artists of the 90s, were influenced by Dark Knight Returns with the TV screens everywhere.
Big time,
like,
dude.
I feel like it's such a trope of Image 90s comics, like, summarizing everything with TV screens.
Well, TVs were a big deal, for a time.
Yeah.
Actually,
But
when
I
they
don't
were
feel like
squ-
you
when-
ever
when-
saw this before Frank Miller.
when they were square, you could fit more of them on a page.
Spawn went hard on this too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was in Spawn. Like, I think you're right, Craig. It feels like it was lifted from Dark Knight.
I think, well, that's true. It definitely, Dark Knight probably started the trend. I think the idea of using televisions this way was inevitable because of how ubiquitous television as a source of information became, especially in this time period. After late 80s, early 90s is like the television era. It's cable television era, and I think that's what it's all kind of like feeding back into.
Well, also, too, Roxanne, I mean, within the context of Vanguard, Roxanne's
She's a reporter.
Fucking reporter, so yeah, it makes nothing but sense.
I was going to say, it's kind of a cool thing, whereas other comics, you just have these random reporters that always show up, but they don't, them as the reporters, but they don't really play any other part in the story. This is kind of cool where she can cross over from just being that kind of reporter tool to transfer information and also be one of the main characters.
She's Ugly Superman's Lois Lane.
Yeah. Basically. Otherwise, this issue, I don't think it has a backup. So,
Oh, you didn't quite run the plot to its end.
Didn't I?
You just said that he sees his wife and kids, and he gets choked up about it. No, you did. Yeah, wife and kids gets choked up about it, and they just let him go. Oh yeah, that's weird. I guess he got away with it because the guy that he lied on died.
I like to think he's still lying. That basically he's gonna dump these people to the curb as soon as he can get his hands back on another time machine.
Yeah, no one has any way of knowing he's bad.
Exactly, because the witness is dead, and the other one was a monster from the future who went somewhere. Which, based on recent Big Bang Adventure stories, he may still be bouncing around time at this point forever.
Berserker's the only one that knows that he's full of shit.
Right, exactly.
Oh, that's crazy.
Can we talk about the action scenes, though? I mean,
sure,
again,
whatever.
Medina just... the term Berserker, I mean, he really shows... It just fits the character.
Yeah.
Throughout even the backup and this, the way he just rips things apart. I mean, this is some of the best action, the best drawn action scenes, I feel like, in the series.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one which really stands out to me, the double page splash kind of.
With the tackle?
Which is yeah, that's a great page.
Yeah, that tackle's
like that.
really good.
Yeah. I feel like in this series you don't see much of any double page splashes. So that one kind of stuck out to me.
I'll also say he didn't make Vanguard handsome, but as a trade-off, Vanguard gets many funny faces.
Yeah.
Like, many funny faces. Like, you can tell that Angel was having fun with Vanguard's expressions.
Yeah. No, he's a great artist. It looks good. My only issue is Vanguard's not as handsome as I think he should be. And I also think Roxanne looks a little too conservative or older. I don't know.
Older, yeah. It's not even. I don't even mind her conservative reporter look. She just looks
It's just
old.
weird when it switches up like that.
It's almost like if a pivotable. You like that word, pivotable? That's for you, Jim. If a pivotable character suddenly changed his hair color after 6 years to look younger, it might be a little confusing. Yeah, I don't know. Just saying. I think the art thing, we're really paying the price for it here and there. But all in all, it's cool. I like this issue. I think, again, as we're rating this is one of the stronger of the 6.
Yeah. Did you guys notice in the letters page, the beginning paragraph where Eric opens up about Jack Kirby had just died?
Oh, put it out there, man.
Yeah, no, he writes like a couple paragraphs in the letters page. It says, Jack Kirby died February 6, 94. I think, what's this one? This came out April 94, so it's just, he probably wrote this just after finding out. So he just goes on to praise Kirby and talk about how much of an influence he was. But I thought it's kind of cool to have that as kind of it's like a little milestone that you know where things are at this point.
Yeah.
That's why I love letters pages.
Absolutely. When I was doing my, catch up, where I was gone for like 50 issues, and I was just like, oh, and I was getting caught up. The letters page was an invaluable snapshot of where everyone was at that point in history. It's cool. Like a time capsule.
So we talk about some of these ads.
Well, we got the Savage Dragon sculpture. This is a pretty classic looking one.
You know him, you love him, you want to own one of them. Claiborne Moore, 9 inches tall, fully painted, limited edition, only $150.
$150 and $1994.
Yeah, the thing that got me was that shipping was only $6.95.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hope that fits.
I mean, you're shipping a statue.
Yeah. Well, postage was a lot cheaper. You don't really think about it, but you could mail letters way cheaper back then.
Like, what was it, like a nickel?
Oh, yeah. It was at least that cheap for like a letter.
I mean, a postcard.
No.
If you're doing a postcard, it was like a 10 cents.
Yeah.
Stamps were cheap.
Stamps were cheap. I mean, back then they were in cent amounts. These days they're all those forever stamps. You're paying like $20 for a book of them.
Mm. Send check or money order in U.S. funds too. It's funny.
So no drachmas, no rubles,
no email, credit card. Just mail something and hope something comes and just allow 6 to 8 weeks and pray that it comes.
Pray that Finn doesn't break in transit.
Money orders, baby. That was what you had.
So yeah, because I keep hearing stories about people buying these on eBay and the Finn's showing up broken.
I'm sure, dude. Most people don't pack shit right.
I know it's horrible. You're like, come on,
guys. Cyberforce is back. I didn't even know they left.
How many arms?
I guess it started as a mini. I forgot about that.
It must have.
It's an ongoing series brought to you by Image Comics.
Okay. I got nothing else to say about Cyberforce.
But we said plenty.
but we could talk about girth.
Yeah, no.
Excuse me. I'll edit that out.
I think that says it best.
He's very round.
He makes you want to expel air from you. I'm going to say that I like Girth. I know he's stupid looking, but I just think he's fun. I think he looks cool, dude. He's stupid.
Yeah. He's got that weird vest thing. It's like 2 straps. Is it a vest or is it like overalls?
So here's what I liked about Girth. So you have the Blob from X-Men, and he's just portrayed as an oaf. He's like fucking oaf. Whereas Girth is clearly trying to be cool.
He's got cyber legs.
Yes.
He's got those glasses that have nothing that goes behind the ear. They just kind of float.
They're just on him.
He's got 2 big guns on his back.
He's too goddamn cool for traditional glasses.
He's got the hairy chest.
Yes, dude. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. I'm clearly choices were made, and Girth is cool.
Girth is trademark and copyright Rob Liefeld. So
I wonder if he still
don't
owns
you dare
him.
Try to steal that idea.
But then we get.
You think that he still owns Girth?
I think he might still own the New Men, so possibly.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we get an ad for the Caliper Press Berserker series, issue number 6, which is always kind of cool to see non-image ads, because you know this one's in here because it's Carlson's thing,
right?
So it's also kind of cool to know there's a Berserker series going on right now.
Right.
Just
1994.
yeah.
I like the little Berserker logo, like half bone and half like wrench type thing.
Yep. It is different.
If you're gonna name your guy Berserker, you got to lean into it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Can we talk about this back cover, the Pact versus Youngblood?
Yeah.
Did someone just like handwrite the verses in? It's so poorly done.
Handwrite the what in?
The verses.
So this is the
Oh,
Pact
the verses.
Youngblood verses,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's so shaky.
It's like something I would do.
I mean, do you think anyone was really excited for that?
No one was, because I was there at that time, and nobody was excited about the Pact. I'm sorry, Jim Valentino, but nobody was excited about the Pact.
Agreed.
The shininess on the jewels, his bejeweled cup.
Too much. But I'm more concerned about how small Badrock looks. He just seems way smaller than he's supposed to be. With his...
Have you guys seen the new Youngblood that he's basically making?
No.
Yeah, like Echo, whatever.
Yeah, Echo.
Echo 92, supposed to echo the 92, so it's just like all Youngblood, just like drawn slightly different.
Yeah, like Shaft is blue. And like the funny thing is Badrock, the Badrock character has been Grimrock's. And so it's like, it's cracking me up because like...
It's great. It's like, all right, I don't own these guys anymore. Well, fuck that.
See how easy this is? I did this once. I can do it again.
Yeah. And then the funny thing is like, he's done that his whole career, so nobody can even look at that and be like, hey, man, he's just ripping off Youngblood. Like, he's literally like...
Do you remember when he was going to publish, like, the Purple Hulk?
Yes, dude, Smash.
What did he... Was that the name? Smash?
Smash was his name. And I was like, unbelievable.
He was exactly Hulk.
You know
dude,
what?
Purple.
He was the infraggable Crunk.
He looked identical. If it was a black and white drawing of Smash, you wouldn't know that it was the Hulk. I mean, you wouldn't. There would be no way to know, and it's fucking.
It never
awesome.
came out though. I think. Like,
No,
the
that
last
one
minute,
got that one got kiboshed.
But I have seen that. Like, hasn't Smash shown up in other things though?
I don't know, man.
I think so because I'm saying I've seen Smash in other things. Like he's in the background standing around and shit. Like Smash never got his own thing, but I've seen him around.
Oh yeah, I hear the typing away.
I saw him at the Wanamaker.
Go Jim, go.
No, that was for something else.
Porn.
No, next issue.
Oh, it's how it gets us through this. You always keep a tab open, you know.
So,
can I just say?
Oh my god!
Vanguard...
I just googled Smash.
Did you? Yeah, you like
it's
it?
So good. It's so good,
dude. I'm telling you.
It's like Hulk Smash, so of course his name's Smash, and then the cover is just like it's just Hulk.
Dude, that's what I'm saying is like Smash is literally. So when I see like the new Youngblood and it's just, dude, and okay, so I know you're looking at it, and listener, please Google this because it's too good. You see like Smash, and like the first image comes up, it goes, "Madder Smash gets, bigger Smash gets."
No, so they said like I'm reading it, and it's like Smash. Like, basically, the comic is Smash versus the Fighting American, which is basically Captain America.
Right.
And they said it was left over from Heroes Reborn from a storyline he couldn't use, so he's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna make my own comic and just color them different.
It's so funny, dude. But, like, look at the airbrushed. Like, somebody really airbrushed the shit out of that Smash cover. You see the one I'm talking about, where, like, the cover's all, like, painted.
The chain.
Yeah. It's, like, all digitally painted and stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny, dude.
Awesome. Amazing. Balls. The balls on that
The
guy.
balls. Yeah, the huge King Kong balls. If he had... The only way that Smash could be more balls is if he had green pants on instead of black. Like, you see how he's got black pants? Because, you know, Hulk is green with purple pants. If Smash was purple with green pants, forget about it. That is the ultimate King Dick maneuver.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, moving along. Let's wrap it up with Vanguard number 6.
Speaking of handsome Vanguard face, I don't think you're very happy about this cover, Craig.
Not at all. Not at all.
Which is funny because it ran with the copy too goddamn perfect. Do you recall this black and white ad?
Yes. Yeah, it was like all like the weird, like no swear word, scribble symbols.
Yep.
Right?
Too goddamn perfect. Now, I had this totally wrong. In my mind, I thought this was Bart Sears. And even the interiors...
Well, I'll tell you why you
Andy
made
Smith
that.
looks just like Bart.
I'll tell you why that
Sears.
is, guys.
Lay it on us.
He inks Bart Sears.
Well, there you go.
Because here's the thing about Andy Smith, is that I know him primarily from his work at CrossGen Comics in the early 2000s, where he did a number of issues of The First, which was kind of a New Gods sort of takeoff sort of thing.
Sure.
And he started inking Bart Sears on that series until about issue 8. And then
it
later...
broke him. It broke him. Whoever he was is gone, and only Bart Sears remains.
Well, no, because then he would... by issue 25, he became the regular series artist.
Oh.
And he
did he
that,
draw like Bart Sears then?
He drew very similar to... Well, he was drawing the series Bart Sears started, so I assume they kept him because he was very similar to Bart Sears.
I'm saying, like, do you think that Andy looks in the mirror and sees Bart Sears? Like, like this is like Bart Sears looking work is what I'm saying. It's crazy,
Right.
dude.
Yeah.
I mean, probably. I don't know. I don't speak for the man. But he's done...
Like he meets women, he says, please call me Bart. And they're like, what?
Well, he also, notable to us, he also drew the Mars Attacks Image series.
Nice.
Well, he also did Deadly Duos first.
Oh, you're right. He did do that. The first series,
which was much better than
the
the
second series.
series.
Because I've seen that art in that. It's very unique.
Jim couldn't even contain his laughter when he just said the second series. Did you hear that?
I don't laugh on air very often, so you know.
He did laugh before he could even. He said, "Oh yeah."
It was like
colorist.
But yes, I primarily know him from his cross-gen work because he did a number of fill-ins as well as a long chunk of run on one of the books I was reading.
Sure.
But he also did he work on Demigod? Yeah. So his most recent thing was a series called Demigod with Ron Mars. It was kind of like a Hercules sort of thing at
So
IDW.
Andy's still active in the
Oh
industry.
yeah, he's still
Awesome.
at it. Yes.
Good.
And
I love it when these dudes are still
and that
kicking
series
ass.
had covers by Bart Sears, so he's still working with Bart Sears in some capacity. I think they must have all come from the same studio.
Two great tastes that taste great together.
Bart Sears is an artist I like. He's got a very unique style.
I know I sounded like I was teasing, but for real, like Andy's art is awesome. Bart Sears' art is awesome. And anybody that came up in the pre-internet era, Wizard Magazine's How to Draw Brutes and Babes section, I'm sure created a lot of comic artists. And I can appreciate Bart Sears because he was one of those guys that had a very grounded in the fundamentals art style. He's a guy that's like, your anatomy, you can exaggerate it, but you gotta fucking know the real shit so that you can exaggerate it properly. And yeah, Bart Sears, when you talk about chops, this man is like an entire factory of pork chops. That's how many chops. He's got chops for days. Like imagine that there was an airplane full of karate martial artists and it just wrecked into a pork chop factory. That's how many chops you got when you're talking Bart Sears. Chops for days.
Chops and applesauce.
Karate chops, pork chops, applesauce. There you go. Sorry, I'm done, Jim. That's enough Bart Sears love.
Well, at any rate, the one thing Smith can't do is draw Vanguard's face very well. He's got a very ugly, wide face all issue.
I'm going to criticize another moment, but I'll let you do the credits first.
Well,
I'll
that's
say
right. It's Vanguard's face has been 50-50 the whole series, so it's not just Andy Smith. I think it is kind of difficult to pull.
It's unfortunate this is also the date issue.
Yeah. He's never looked uglier, and goddamn. Yeah, agree.
And it's the issue where Roxanne says, "Oh, you're not that ugly to me anymore."
Yeah.
All right, so this was published May '94. Again, co-creator Eric Larson, co-creator Gary Carlson, writer Andy Smith on pencils, Randy Elliott on inks, Chris Eliopoulos letters, colorists Reuben Rude, Antonia Cole, William Zindel, Abel Monton, Worthless Sack of Protoplasm, Josh Eichhorn.
Dude, it's been the same colorist for like 75 issues. Jim still can't get the names down.
What I like is you blew your wad on colorist. You said the perfect colorist. I mean, you said color is perfect, and I was like, first time. God,
He's
first
going to
time.
do it.
And then you said Ruben. Like, oh, you blew it.
Able Mountain. Sorry.
No, we love you, dude. We love you. we bust chops because we love you. Yeah, the ugliest Vanguard that ever was. And can I just say, like, so we were talking before this.
Oh no, he's not uglier than the first issue.
I agree. Okay, agree. For one, he's got a very handsome body. So this is like your sexy, put a bag over his head Vanguard, right? But like, because again, if you're talking Bart Sears, the anatomy is going to be on point every time.
Yeah.
But again,
we're talking Andy Smith.
Andy Smith, yeah. When you're talking Andy Smith, the anatomy is going to be on point. But goddamn, his face is hideous. And when Vanguard puts on the former football player's clothes,
yeah,
I just wanted to kill myself. I told you that
you didn't think that looked good.
Well, no. And there's a few there's 3 of these issues that were just burned into my mind. For some reason, I read them over and over and over again. And Vanguard in the football player's outfit is, honest to God, one of the visuals I think of when I think of Vanguard. Because I hate that goddamn outfit.
So not Roxanne's outfit.
No, dude. Roxanne's standing there looking like Fly. I think Andy did good by Roxanne. But goddamn, Van could not have looked like a bigger dildo. He's so stupid.
Don't forget it's 1994.
People didn't look that bad in '94.
He looks like a mafioso guy or something.
He looks like
Tony Soprano with a hat on.
What happened to all his muscles?
Well, they're hidden by
It's
folds.
the giant baggy clothes of the '90s.
Yeah,
terrible, simply terrible.
Those boots of his don't match either.
All I can think is this was Roxanne's idea of a cruel joke.
Yeah.
He leaves the gloves and boots on.
Yes. He put them on over his suit. I wanted to fight this artist over the suit. Why did you put Vanguard?
I just hate the mammoth, Cro-Magnon, brow.
Yeah, it's not good.
It hurts me.
Not his bat nose.
Yeah, the nose is rough too because it's like skull.
Yeah.
It's just like if you chopped the nose.
It's like Skeletor from the live action He-Man.
Yeah, like if it looks like Vanguard got his nose chopped off. It's rough, dude.
Like I said though, it's hard though because it kind of is like that in a way, but not really. I don't know. I do feel for him because I bet you it is kind of hard to nail.
So the general gist of this story is that Vanguard's going on a date with Roxanne. But as he comes to visit her, he runs into a bank robber flying in the sky on his way. But then they disappear. So Vanguard goes back off on his date. So we find out that there's this man who has a machine that if he sleeps in it, basically his dreams come true. In this case, becoming various supervillains
For 1 hour.
Only 1 hour. And so as Vanguard's date night goes on, he discovers that the old man is not the old man, but another villain is attacking an art museum. So he intercepts, only to find out, it's the same guy, even though he looks completely different. They get into a tussle. Vanguard beats him. And that's it, really. This story is very straightforward. Villain's kind of cool. Villain's kind of cool, if a little goofy.
I like the villain.
I like the villain's concept. I think his alter egos are kind of neat. He's got a green thing going on both times. And the fact that the machine makes his dreams come true and he just robs banks, that's certainly a choice. Considering he has a butler and is already appears affluent.
Yeah, he's
just doing it out of boredom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pemberton is his butler.
I do think it's funny.
Of course, he straight up fucking murders people too. There's the panel where he's breaking into the jewelry store. He just fucking blows people away. So fuck that guy.
Yeah, and then he's also a cock blocker because he tries to fucking cock block Vanguard on his date by giving Roxanne fucking American. What's the name?
American
of the painting?
Gothic.
American Gothic. It's Gas, the most famous. It's like, oh, here, hold this, you beautiful woman. You're so beautiful. I'm like, this pales in comparison to your beauty. I'm like, what a cock block. Fucking old man. What are you gonna do? Like, turn hot for 1 hour and nail Roxanne? There's no future in that. What's this guy doing? He's just a pure dickhead. Unbelievable.
I can't handle the page where like Vanguard and Roxanne are kissing.
It's hideous.
Well,
Isn't it the most great
And the side profile above the panel above the heart, it's like, ooh.
Yeah. You mean a Vanguard. For the listener, there is a side profile of Vanguard and Roxanne as they're about to go in for the smooch. And Vanguard with his giant Cro-Magnon brow and non-existent nose simply could not look more hideous. And as Jim said earlier, this sequence is about Vanguard feeling insecure about his looks. And she's like, "No, you're a great guy, you know." I was afraid. What's funny if you notice, she never tells Vanguard he's not ugly.
right.
She
Well,
goes,
she-
"I
she-
was
You're saying it. Go.
She just says, "I was afraid of you at first. Now I think you're a great guy, and you do belong here with me." She never says, "Nah, man, you're hot. Look at that hot body on you." She dodges the ugly thing the whole time.
Their relationship is odd, but somewhat sweet.
Why is it odd?
Because they're aliens. I mean, do they even have
Superman.
Do they even have genitals?
But that's just like Dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. I guess Dragon does have a dick.
You gotta assume, here's the thing, Vanguard is like a male. He lusts after females. Like, so I'm saying, like, and his body is like fucking based on archetypical, like, cliche male.
Right.
So I'm saying, like, you gotta assume he's got a ding-a-ling. He's got, like, and he lusts
Schmeckle. A schmeckle.
He's got a schmeckle. So you gotta
Scott
assume.
James Scott.
So you gotta assume. That's all.
But, yeah, like, see, you were saying Bart Sears, and, like, all the scenes with the old man in his superhero forms, all these, like, Greek god bodies, that's totally a Bart Sears thing.
Big time, dude.
So,
Google Brutes and Babes, and you will see.
but,
Bart Sears, Brutes and Babes, like, big time. I do think it's funny that, like, even Pemberton and the old man as an old man still are kind of jacked looking.
right. Like, you can't help it.
Can't turn it off.
So this is the final issue.
Well, that's the thing about this issue, is it is the final issue. But we get one more page after the letters page. An epilogue, if you will, of something crashing to Earth on a farm in flames. Which we won't find out about until years later when the Ninja Turtle series starts.
So that's Rayburn.
That's Rayburn returning to Earth, yes.
Man. Superman metaphors all over this thing.
Right. Absolutely. Can we talk about the letters pages?
Yeah, let's talk about, what do you got?
Well, I mean, obviously there's this one huge page that's written all by Eric, discussing Vanguard and saying that it's coming to a close. Basically saying what we've been saying all along, the rotating artists have... I'll actually just read it, it's easier. He says, rotating artist's decision proved to be a bigger headache than I had anticipated. Characters disappeared between issues. Characters changed radically between issues. It was getting ridiculous. Without an artist to establish a consistent look, everybody took it upon themselves to try and make the character their own. While I thought it was great to see all of the different interpretations of these characters, I felt it was too confusing for the average reader. And then he just goes on to say how deadlines kept closing in and getting missed. And it wasn't fair to Gary and the readers. So they were saying that they're going to close this at issue 6 and then come back again with another series down the road. Kind of like I feel like what a lot of Image Comics do today, which they'll come out with a set of comics,
Sure.
take a hiatus, and then come back. But unfortunately, the regular series never came back as much as just one-shots after this. And I think there was one more mini, right? Strange Visitors. Right?
There's Strange Visitors mini, And then there's Strange Visitors is a mini. Eternal Warriors is a one shot.
Ethereal
Warriors, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm reading here. Eric really throws that one colorist under the bus, doesn't he?
Where's that?
At the bottom of the first. At the bottom of the first column.
Oh.
The colorist that I hired to color the book and whose work I liked previously turned in some truly unorthodox and unprofessional coloring. When I'd gone through 3 different color separators, all of whom complained about his work, I had it just about enough and gave him the boot.
Dragon wearing red pants.
Yeah. I remember he's complained about that. Even there's a FINcast interview where we're talking about it. He's like, red pants? I had to get rid of that guy. Yeah.
It's funny. I think on the next pages, it doesn't really say anything, but there's 2 pieces of art, and you would confuse it for fan art because I don't think it says anything about it in the letters pages.
Right.
But it's actually the covers to the potential Vanguard 7 and 8. And we know this because there are copy ads for them. And Inside Image had that issue 7, which was drawn by Jeff Johnson, which looks like it's almost like Lurch or some kind of Vanguard lookalike fighting him again. And then Image 8, that's the famous copy of the pit hits the van.
Yeah,
was the catchphrase. And so we were going to see that, and that was Kirk Javinin, I guess, is the artist, and that looks pretty cool. That cover, that looked like it would have been a decent one. So I don't know. It's too bad that we never got to see that. So I guess they scrapped those and just went to those minis. I don't know why they scrapped the ideas for that, but they did. So
overall, looking back, I like
Mike Roingo picture art too on the letters pages. Which is cool.
Go into it.
No, it's just Mike Roingo. It just says, I don't know where it says it, but I don't know. But it is Ringo. Anyway,
overall, I like Vanguard. I hadn't really, like I said, there were some weird gaps in my memory on this, even though it turned out like I had apparently made it to issue 6. For some reason, just 4 and 5 felt new, so I'm just going to call them new or whatever. But I really do like this 6-issue stretch. Obviously, it's flawed. You know, the revolving artist thing, it didn't work. However, for an experiment, it's cool. I think it is kind of neat to see all these different artists approach their styles. You know, one guy's super 90s and rough, the other guy's classic. Then you got Joe Mad that's anime inspired, and it's good. I thought it was very cool or whatever. I like the character Vanguard a lot. I like the concept of Ugly Superman. I think there's a lot there. I think Wally is an interesting character. Lurch is an interesting mechanic, a plot device. I think all of that is rock solid. I feel terrible for Vanguard the character because I feel like this miniseries deep sixed him. I feel like had he had a different miniseries, he probably could have been as strong a presence as any early Image character. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
People think Youngblood and Spawn and, Savage Dragon and Shadowhawk and, you think people still think Cyberforce and, stuff like that. I think people could have just as easily have thought Vanguard as well. I just don't think. I think with this miniseries, I don't think it happened because of the inconsistencies visually.
I see. That makes
I mean, it's for the same reasons people think of Super Patriot,
Yeah.
Because of consistency in art. And
it's a shame, too, because, like I said, Vanguard fucking kicks ass. I think he's fucking awesome. I would love to see a new Vanguard, just a straight shot, let's give just a trade. skip the monthlies, go straight to trade. I'd love to see a new Vanguard series, but we know the world we live in.
Well, we kind of got that as the backup serial, which
Agreed.
was some of the best Dragon comics at the time. Frank Fosco's and Gary Carlson and Frank Fosco did that Vanguard serial, or multiple serials around, what was it, around the 140s or 50s? I can't remember.
Yeah,
right
somewhere in there.
Well, that was the one where Van's Big Invaders finally came to Earth, and that shit was fucking great.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of characters come back. We'll get to it eventually, or did we already did those?
No.
We did them in real time.
Did we?
Yeah,
that means that would have been after 175.
Yeah, we did that in real time.
Okay.
Because I remember I was like, oh, dude. Because I was like, oh, shit, the aliens. They're finally coming to fucking Earth.
That makes sense, because 175 was when the Krylons... no, wait, that might have been just after. I'm not sure we covered all of it. Maybe some of it.
I remember that we did because the plot weaves in and out of the main story.
Yeah, and at points I enjoyed the back story more than the main story, which has never happened.
Right. I remember that.
Part of that was the payoff of seeing these characters return.
Mm-hmm.
So characters all throughout this series return, all throughout some of the other Vanguard miniseries return. Obviously you've seen them in Turtles and stuff like that too, like the Death Watch guy. And so it was a great payoff, and it tied up a lot of this. And Vanguard's basically seems like it's almost ended. I mean, you don't see him anymore, and the story tied up. I did hear that there's going to be a new, and I'm sure you guys saw that on the fan page, that there's going to be a new Vanguard story in one of the upcoming Megaton Big Bang issues from Gary Carlson.
Oh, good.
That's awesome. That's awesome as shit.
So
Vanguard's in a weird place in terms of as it relates to Savage Dragon, because as Savage Dragon moves on forward in real time, Vanguard and Wally can remain. But what about Roxanne, who's just a normal human? She's going to age up. So you can't. Vanguard's unfortunately, which to me, Savage Dragon and Vanguard, they're parallel. They run side by side. I very much think Vanguard when I think Savage Dragon. Absolutely. But unfortunately, like I said, I don't know how, Gary feels about the real time element, because that puts Roxanne in a bad place. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see.
You can work some space magic.
Yeah, just hit her with some cosmic radiation. That'll clear right up.
Do the modem thing, where they just teleport her and rework her DNA.
There you go.
Bam. There you go, Gary.
Solved.
You can have it.
There's one more pin. There's one more pinup in this book on the second to last, before the back cover.
That's a McFarlane looking one, right?
Yeah, I don't know who did it.
It's signed, but it's hard to you can't really from the signature. It looks like PO or PI.
Yeah, I don't think it's credited in the letters page, so it's hard to know who it was.
But man, that is some McFarlane looking faces.
The only other ads are we get this Mighty Man secret revealed for Freak Force 6, which
that's a cool.
Can
ad.
you believe that still hasn't been revealed in real time yet? It's still a big secret at this point. I mean, that's like Savage Dragon 14, 15 at this point.
I like that ad with the silhouette of the hands clashing together,
Yeah.
the two cuffs. Can we talk about this extremely obscene double page here?
Oh, sure.
Which is weird. Why do they call it extremely obscene? It's not from Extreme Studios. It's also weird. Is this just by Eric? Because it's just about Eric's books. It just seems weird. It's almost like his bullpen type thing. So he talks about the real face of Dung. There's a little ad there that shows the DJ M. Dung, who's the inspiration for the character Dung, has a profile on Larson, who at this time is 31 years old. which is cool when you see these credits, because you see all these issues of his characters are out at this point. So Savage Dragon, Super Patriot, Freak Force, Vanguard, the upcoming Deadly Duo, and Star. It's pretty amazing to think that there was a time when all these issues were out at the same time.
Yeah, can you even imagine?
So 6 different Larson titles. But yeah, it talks about all. I love his favorites. He talks about his favorite foods and artists, and it says despises having my effing name misspelled, Josh Eichhorn, wedgies, people who rip off my effing characters, or whatever this.
I wonder who that's targeted at. That feels specific.
I don't know. And then he talks about the kind of the highbrow, which is not called highbrow yet at this point, but May releases. Savage Dragon number 10. There's a lot of weird swear, kind of those weird. What do you even call that when instead of putting a swear?
Is that what
the dingbats?
Yeah, dingbats is the official term.
But that's
the effing.
But that's specific because Savage Dragon 10 is the Jimbo issue.
Yeah, the effing dragon faces off against the winner of the Create an Effing Character contest. The reader created character goes toe to toe against dragon. Another all-out action issue. You bet your ass. Freak Force 6. This is Mighty Man's awe-inspiring origin. His shocking secret revealed. Origin so startling, so controversial, it defies effing imagination. Readers will be spontaneously combusting from coast to coast. Blah, blah, blah. All that plus the origin of Rapture. I thought we already got the origin of her, but anyway. And lastly, Vanguard 6. That's what we're reading right now. Enter the whatever dingbat effing Imagineer who dreams up a new effing trouble for everyone's favorite effing strange visitor from another planet.
The Imagineer.
Okay. So, and then what's up with this back cover?
Well, Axis Comics was the ones who published. Remember, we did the in the guest spot issues. It was what was that comic called? Shoot,
Guest spot.
Darn it! I lost my thoughts. It was one of the
Berserker.
No, not Berserker. Remember during the guest appearance episode, we did that one comic that had that all African American team.
Tribe.
I think Tribe was published by Axis.
Oh, okay.
So for whatever reason, Axis is being because this is an ad for an Axis Comics comic. So looking for a super team that's just a wee bit different? Look no further, bucko. Stitch, Captain Gory, Reptilicus, She-Creature, The Dark Agents. Don't miss their killer premiere in Axis Omega coming soon.
Oh, I see. So Kirk Jarvinen was supposed to do, and Gary Carlson's writing it.
Oh, yes, that explains why it's here then.
And Kirk Jarvinen was going to draw issue 8 of Vanguard if it came out.
I see. So this was a style, because it's pretty good, animated style.
Yeah, it looks almost like Bruce Timm in a way.
Very much so.
Ooh, Bruce Timm Vanguard.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. All right, well that wraps up Vanguard 6.
Yeah, that's Vanguard. We did it.
I gave my thoughts. I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
You go, Jim.
I think it is a fine series, but I think it lacks a certain something to really get your teeth into it. Every issue feels like a done in one every issue. I just feel there's no real hooks to keep me reading. Vanguard's design doesn't really set my world on fire. He's just a beefy dude who punches things, and I only got room in my heart for one of those. And there just doesn't seem to be a lot going on except for the action stuff. And I'll be honest, that isn't enough for me to keep reading it. So if I was buying this in 1994, I would not have continued much past this point, likely.
Fair.
But some of the artists, were pretty good, so I'd be more likely to check them out on their projects. So I'll tell you that much. Carlson's good, so I probably would have checked out other works by him, just not Vanguard.
Fair, sure enough.
I think it's hard to judge it now because we know so much about the Vanguard character, and had so many appearances in Savage Dragon that I really love the character. But if this was my first exposure to him, I wouldn't have liked it. And I know for a fact I did not really like this series when it came out. I hated the art to issue 1. I was a huge Larson fanboy. This looked nothing like Eric Larson's art. I just was not a fan. It didn't really pull me in. The other issues were okay at the time. I look back on it now, I feel like it's much the same. Like it's hit and miss all throughout. There was nothing story-wise that, like you guys both said, that just like wowed me over. Again, my favorite issue is that Jason Pearson issue. I feel like if it was 6 issues of that, I felt like that really hit it for me. Like all the Johnny Lee Rayborn stuff on the end was weird, and the stuff that tied in with Savage Dragon with those 2 cops, and I don't know, the art was great. I really liked that. That was the high point of the series for me, and it just it's not that great. I think Freak Force is a better book.
Yeah.
I think Gary, when he comes back with Frank Fosco and does that serial, I even think maybe some of the miniseries, I have to reread it, or the one-shots work better. But I feel like I really fell in love with Vanguard more with those serials in the back of Savage Dragon later on.
Agreed.
Yep.
Completely agree. I feel like with Vanguard, you're absolutely right. I remember I read the shit out of these, but I remember thinking, I was like, this is not as cool as like Savage Dragon. Like you got to think like Savage Dragon was a bloody book. Yeah. And like largely Vanguard is bloodless. I mean, there's some blood, but it's never like really anything that like, like Dragon was like fucking passing out in a big pool of blood.
Yeah, there's definitely more of a classic superhero quality to this versus Dragon, which tries to put the modern spin on it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so, again, it's just like this. You got this series that like, it's kind of like everything is just it's enough. It's enough to have like done in one stories, like, but then to also pair it with like just radically different artists and stuff. Yeah. So
I remember at that age too, and probably still now. I don't know how I feel about it now, to be honest, but I never liked when you got too many different artists. I liked getting in a groove with an artist. I don't think anything pissed me off more than like a fill-in issue, because back then you didn't have the internet either, so you didn't really know.
Oh yeah.
And you'd be going, all right, 6 issues of Eric Larson on Spider-Man or something, and all of a sudden, fuck, Mark Bagley? Like, I didn't sign up for this shit. Like, oh, whatever it was, you know what I mean? Like, you'd be used to one guy, and all of a sudden he's off, and you wouldn't know if he was off for good or if he was just going to take a break and come back after an issue, but it would be like, man, that's my guy. Like, and it would take you a while to, like, get used to the new interpretation. You know what I mean? You would almost cringe at it at first, and sometimes with over time, it'd be like, wait, I like this guy better. You know, I was... Like, even with Invincible, like, that's probably the most recent one I can think of where I was like, fuck, Cory Walker is off Invincible, like, and then who's this guy is trying to ape Cory Walker? Like, I'm not into this. Like, I don't know if I'm going to last long with this. And then you end up liking the guy better, you know? And it's like, I never thought I would like Otley better.
And it's funny you should mention that, because, like, when Otley went to Spider-Man, they didn't really announce he was only going to be doing 6 issues a year.
Yeah, that burned me.
Oh, and it burned so many people, dude. People were like, oh my God, you're only doing 6 issues a year? And he was like, oh, all kinds of people, like nobody can keep a monthly schedule. Look around the industry. And I was just like, God damn though, dude, like nobody wants.
You just did it with Invincible.
Yeah. Nobody wants like 6 issues of you and then 6 issues of who the fuck ever they can just get off of, like, whatever,
Yeah.
Like they're there for you.
So never mind like 6 issues each with a different team. It's just not good. Different colorists, different inkers, different pencilists, penciler. It's just, that kills it. It could be the best artist too, but it just throws you so out of it.
And that's what's funny is, like, you got 6 issues. I would say, like, 4 of these artists are absolutely phenomenal. And then of the 5th and the 6th, only the very first artist is what I would call bad. Like, he's just that very first, like, Vanguard issue. I think you would show that to anyone and it would turn them off. But I'm just saying it was mostly good. Like, and it still didn't work. Like, you had mostly good artists and it still didn't work.
I'm still perplexed. Like we talked about last FinCast, like why you start Tom Coker on the first issue when you have that level of talent.
Yeah.
And not to say that the guy doesn't have ability. It's just you're starting off with issue 1 like that. Like, come on. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's strange to me. Same thing with the issue 0 in Savage Dragon. That's what you want people to first be introduced to. I remember reading that issue 0 and being like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
I bought it anyway because it was Larson and it tied into Savage Dragon. And that's the reason why I bought it. Who would have guessed that Vanguard would have become one of my favorite characters?
Yeah, agreed.
Not after that first.
It was, honest to goodness, like, I had to learn to love, like, because, again, I came to Dragon in a very weird way. You know, I've said it a million times, buying the back issues to catch up or whatever else. I had this bizarre, but I would skip Vanguard backups. Like, I would read the main issue, and then I would see a Vanguard, and I'd be like, and just skip it. And then, like, I had to learn, like, eventually, you know, you're reading this shit over and over and over again. You just, like, you come to just realize, you're like, oh, you know, Vanguard is cool. Like, I need to give this a chance. And then I realized I was stupid, and I did need to give it a chance. But I'm saying, like, I was there for Vanguard's first miniseries, and it's because it wasn't awesome. It didn't really light me on fire. It's kind of, so, yeah, it's a bummer. I still think, like, so past me wouldn't have really, like, this wouldn't have really lit their fire. Modern me, I've got a weird kind of nostalgia for this. I agree. I think knowing who Vanguard becomes and knowing the character's importance, it makes
absolutely,
it carries it a lot. Like, I can enjoy this more than I would.
Yeah, you can look past the some of the art and stuff like that for the story.
Right.
On the opposite end, though, maybe Dragon's Fin wouldn't have bothered me so much back in the day because it wasn't really established. Yeah. But now, seeing these great artists just destroy Dragon's Fin, it really hurts me.
It's rough, dude. Yeah, the Joe Mad Fin.
Yeah, and the Rick Leonardi one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Joe Mad Fin's just, like, tiny.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost Paul Dragon. It's fucking crazy. Like micro fin, bro. I will say I appreciate that Joe Mad drew Dragon height appropriate.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yep.
And it's funny because he's like fucking still super jacked. Like Dragon looks like jacked as a motherfucker, but just Vanguard's just way more jacked.
Right. And that's the way Eric draws him in the regular comic. Like, Vanguard's a beast.
6'6".
Yeah. And he kind of just hunches over. It's kind of funny.
Wowzers. Well, fellas, I mean, hey, we did it.
So, if you want to leave us a message, comments about Vanguard, email us at savagefincast@gmail.com. We're always looking for questions, comments, suggestions. You can also find us on savagefincast.com, where we host our podcast, and you can leave comments. Or you can find us on the Eric Larson Savage Dragon fan group on Facebook, where we usually hang out talking about Dragon.
And YouTube, right?
I mean, we're kind of on YouTube. I'm still sort of half-assing it. But this episode should be up on YouTube. But yes, we do have a YouTube channel. Search Savage FINcast. You should find it.
Well, thank you, fellas. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Jim. I'd like to thank Gary, Frank, Jason Pearson, Joe Mad. No, I'm kidding.
Jesus.
I'd like to thank my executive director.
just go through all of them.
Producer, my agent.
Ruben Rude, Josh Eichhorn, Rick Leonardi. I'm done. No more.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Have a good one.